Hello and welcome back to the week 8 of the NFL fantasy football. It is me, your champion, Vaughn, and today we are here with my opponent this week, and that is Mr. Matt. Matt, first off, how do you pronounce your last name, and how are you doing today?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Matt Tortori. It's a long E. We come from Italy, but a long time ago. But we're excited to be here, talk some football, maybe a little smack against my opponent, and see what happens.
I love it. I love it, man. So, well, that's exciting. Obviously, last week it was a little tough on me. I will get to that in a little bit, but not so much for yourself. You had a great week, and we're going to get to that here in just a little bit. But before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and start into our last week's matchups, and that is going to be first off on the docket, Connor and David. And I have to say, I was thinking, David, you might have pulled off the sweet upset, and that would have made me so happy, even though that would have put you in first place. However, even with Mahomes stumbling and everything kind of going awry, Connor somehow pulled out the upset, and not the upset, the clear victory. What was I talking about? But Matt, what do you think of this game?
Well, no matter what David would have done, his team would not have won. Connor just blew him out of the water. It wasn't very close, but got different prospects for looking at for next week for David.
Absolutely. And I will say the Yeti really helped him out a lot. I am still having a little bit of buyer's remorse. I still haven't gotten to suck on that sweet CMTT or sweet CMCT, but at the same time, it's gonna come. Hopefully not this week for you, but it'll be my next week's opponent, which I think it might be Kenny, but I need to go and double check on that. But needless to say, Henry had a great game. Johnson for the Browns, he had a fantastic game, and that's the Ernest Johnson, by the way. As I click on him, man, what a solid performance on that Thursday night game. What did you think about that, Matt?
Oh, I was so pissed off. I couldn't believe that. Like, I dumped him for a third. Oh, that was infuriating. And Connor slots him in 24 points. I'm like, I don't remember the exact defense, but it was a pretty tough run D. But turns out every NFL RB is talented. That's why RBs don't matter, except unless you're Derrick Henry or McCaffrey.
I mean, my goodness, and I kind of forgot about that you did the old trade on him. So that's you know what, that's all right. You still got the victory this last week, and he probably is only going to be there for a couple more weeks, and unless Hunt really
Yeah.
does have a bad injury. But at the end of the day, good pickup, good swipe on you, Connor, and we'll have to see how that keeps playing out. But at finish off this game, AJ Brown had a hell of a game. Obviously, Hollywood, he's just been on a tear this year. That's my boy. I'm telling you, Connor, I will pay. I will pay for him. Just send that on over. But
You gotta
on
watch.
the go ahead.
You gotta watch out for Rashad Bateman though, because he comes in first two games, 6 targets apiece. He's making stuff happen after the catch. Sorry, David. Have fun with old man Robinson. Better hope he gets traded, or he's not doing anything.
You're dang right. And speaking of David, man, he had pretty much one guy go off, and that was his boy Matthew Stafford. The guy's having a hell of a year. Really, I mean, I think Cooper Cup is just sent from the fantasy gods at this point to help along Stafford to a championship. But unfortunately, he's not going to get past my Dallas Cowboys, so it's just never going to happen. But you know what? They're going to have a nice run, I feel like. But after that, that was a good game on Connor's part. But we're going to go ahead and get moving on to our next game. And Matt, you can go ahead and take this one away, and it's going to be Josh and Cameron's game.
Well, first off, I had a few thoughts here. So, first and foremost, how shitty is Geno Smith and that whole situation? Actually, sorry, Geno. Pete Carroll is being exposed by the fact that Russell Wilson has carried him for his entire career. He's just another coach that is way too long tenured by a great QB. Josh and Cameron, that was a pretty brutal matchup. Cameron, you weren't even able to start a tight end with Schultz on bye and Kittle on IR. Tough stuff. And let's see. Oh, where do we even go from here? It was just a tough overall matchup. 3 points only separated um, Cameron or Josh from the victory. What do you think, Vaughn?
Well, what I was hoping you'd bring up right off the jump is we had an empty slot. We had someone who did not fill out a full roster and only lost by 3 points. I don't know if punishment isn't should be involved here, but I do know that that is on like you could have picked up almost anyone and probably gotten the victory. But for what do you think? Because I know the Ballers just kind of talked about setting full lineups a couple of weeks ago and not really being okay with it. What are your stance on him not filling a tight end spot there?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like maybe he didn't want to drop anybody, and he was going to have Dalton Schultz back next week, and
Yep.
he was 1-5 going into the matchup
Mm,
against like another. I mean, Jackson or Josh's team isn't that great, so like I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like if he's just leaving spots out, then
mm.
like that'd be something to talk about. But this 1 week, Schultz is back.
I agree, and it was the bipocalypse, so obviously
I mean,
is
that's
that
what
was
wrecked
tough.
you.
Oh, I didn't have anyone. I couldn't even break 100 points, even if I set a perfect lineup. So I just took the L and it was fine. But no, I agree. He has Schultz, he has Kittle. Obviously, there's not a lot on the waiver wire for the tight end, but at the same time, it does kind of stink that he lost because of that. But my boy Josh, he gets his another victory, and he is 3-4, and I think surprising a lot of people. So he's got Matt Ryan playing this week. I think he really wishes he had Deshaun Watson, and who knows what might happen there. He might get traded to the Dolphins for the end of the week's up, but it is kind of getting to the nitty gritty on that. So they better figure that out. But if that does happen, Josh has a solid QB1, even though he does have Herbert in the wing. So, but no, other than that, great game, guys. Congratulations, Josh, on that victory, and good luck to you next week. But after that, we got Kenny and Pietro's game. And let me go ahead and pull this one up. This was a 126 to 114 victory for Pietro. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers did what Aaron Rodgers does, and he got himself 33.4 points, as well as Pittman in the rain, being a grown ass man, taking balls away from defenders.
I mean,
Incredible.
well, Kenny, I got news for you, man. Sam Darnold is a fraud, and he was carried by rushing TDs. You're better just to leave him out on the waiver wire because he's been exposed. Like if he would have just like had a breath of life, you should lose a game with Cooper Cup. And he's just tearing up the league. But it is what it is. You can't win them all. I have only lost once, so I know best that you can't win them all.
Oh, he's talking the big game. I love it. I love it. And by the way, I know we haven't really gotten the chat 1-on-1, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, but congratulations on building such a strong team just within this last calendar year, man. That is an amazing team. I thought I was doing good, but you're now either nipping at my heels or already surpassed me. So congratulations on the build.
Got a lot of lucky, bet on the right guys. You just kind of follow the RBs and the draft capital, and they get the work.
RBs, they have the meats, as they say. But let's just look to the other side of the ball real quick. Besides the Sam Darnold upsetting play, because if CMC was in the game, he probably would have got pulled out the victory, I would imagine. But he did have some strong players. Obviously, as I alluded to earlier, Cooper Kupp just freaking killing it. I don't know what's possessed him this year, but he has just had such a strong showing. And then obviously Chris Godwin, no Antonio Brown, and no Gronk. It's going to be Evans or Godwin, or why not both? And that's exactly what happened this last week. So good job to Pietro on the victory. That does get him to 4-3, and he is definitely in the hunt for the playoff picture. So good luck to you next week, as long as you're not playing me, which we're not. So, but yes, let's go ahead and talk about one of the main events, your game. So yeah, go ahead and tell me what you were feeling, what you were thinking on this one.
We don't need to spend long here. Jack had 3 guys combined for -2 points. My team does what it does, puts up 150. I'm done.
And that is very fair. I mean, I'm going down your lineup here. 16 points from Taylor, 24 points for Swift. Okay, let me ask you this for real. Did you think DeAndre Swift was actually going to be as good as he was this year, even though he was a Lion? And
Yeah,
let me ask you,
totally.
This is not me asking. This is David asking, just to let you know.
Yeah, David knows. He's been trying to trade for him. People who've been trying to trade for Swift know that. I mean, I was pretty high on him. What I was really banking on is the receptions, and that's what we're seeing. I mean, he would be like a wide receiver 2 on receptions alone. I forget exactly what it is, but super efficient. Jared Goff, dump off king. He's just a statue in the pocket. Negative game scripts. They're going to be throwing the ball. I mean, you look at his fourth quarter points, and they are so much higher than all the rest of the rest of the quarters. And it's like, I mean, he should get the ball more. And then you finally saw it. 8 for 96 yards and a tutty. And then you add 448 on the ground. I'll take that all day.
And
Making a run for JT's chair as Dynasty RB1.
that is very, very true. And I mean, you might have to switch them out here in this next game. I mean, it might just help the mojo a little bit. Either that or totally make your team fall apart. Either way, you do what you want to do. But let's just finish up on this one. The real bad one, and obviously, Jack, I'm sorry, man. I had AJ Dillon playing in another dynasty league myself. He actually got me negative 3.7. He looks like he only got you negative 0.7 on this one, but still tough time. It's a tough time anytime you have negative points. So hopefully that turns around for him tonight as he's playing right now against the Cardinals, and we'll see if that holds fruition. But I'm hoping you have a better option. We'll kind of find out here in the later segment. But I said that was I did say that was the grand finale, the last little bit, the ultimate game, right? We didn't need to talk about anything else, right? Oh, okay.
Well, you just got hit with the apocalypse like you've never seen. And I mean, well, your team outscored its projection by 35 points. Kudos to you. Tua, QB1 on the week. You know, people pulled through for your Damian Harris. You know, he just ran 2 touchdowns in. Jamar Chase, like, what a blessing. May he never leave your team, sir. For he is one good player. And I do love to see my man Brian Edwards get a touchdown. I'm glad he's serving you well.
And that's absolutely it. I mean, honestly, and this might have been my karma. I was just like, you know what? I don't even care. I got barely anyone I could play. I got a good enough team. I got Devontae Adams. I got Kyler Murray. They should do it for me. And oh, obviously Mandrews. I mean, he's been scoring me 20 plus points every game. Well, that was 6.3 points. And oh yeah, Rondell Moore, I had to sit out there. He gave me 2.7. It was a tough one. But you know what? We're back to almost full strength to this week. So at the end of the day, congratulations, Paul. You deserve to at least have one win. I'm sucks that it had to be me, but at the end of the day, good job. And yeah, keep on going. You're gonna make this team into a powerhouse. And anytime you can score 133 points, that lets you know you're not out of it. So keep chugging and keep on getting some good players on your team. All right, so let's go on to the next segment. And this is a new segment because it is getting closer to playoff time. I wanted to go ahead and throw this in there, and that is the current standings. Well, Matt, since you are at the top of this, I'll let you go ahead and read off the list for us here.
Well, taking up the top 3, Matt number 1, Connor 2, Vaughn's in 3rd right now, David, Pietro, Kenny, and then Josh, Jack, Cameron, and Paul are fighting for that 1st overall. And I'll say this, you know, I'm talking a little shit, but I know I don't have the most points for. It's a long road. There's a lot of football left. So we're just hoping we stay consistent and pull through the rest of the year. But RBs, we got the meats, man.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, just to kind of recap here, the 6th and 7th position is at 3 and 4. So there's still anyone's ball game. That's Kenny and Josh. So really all it is a matter of about 150 points for. So Josh, just go ahead and keep those sneaky wins and don't even worry about those points and you can sneak your way up into the playoffs and losing me in the 1st round or 2nd round. Yeah.
Well,
so go ahead.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Kenny make a push for that 4 overall spot. And he's got a lot of points against, but he's put up 992 points for, and that's even more than me still. So, keep an eye on Kenny. He's had some tough luck with some injuries and like TJ Hawkinson not pulling through, but dude's still rocking Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson. So, that's a team you got to watch out for.
It definitely is. And if I'm not mistaken, Kenny's team also has Josh Allen. So and that guy
Yeah.
had his bye week, so we didn't really get to talk to him about him that much this time. But the dude's a stud, and he's going to keep on going off. And so that is a very scary team. And another one that was on by, or I think he was on by, is Darrell Henderson, and he's playing this week. So that's going to be another stud that he has. And oh yeah, the Mike Williams, I just happened to trade you. You're welcome.
Did anyone see this coming though for Mike Williams? Because I
I
didn't.
I sure as heck didn't, and I definitely sold low, and I got snake bit. So, but all right, in the to keep this thing rolling, we don't make this
Let's
an
do
hour
it.
and a half long. Let's go ahead and talk about the waiver report. There wasn't really huge names going off, but I'll just go ahead and read them off for you. Traycon Smith to Josh for 15 fab. That was probably going to be a good pickup, hopefully for him. Carson Wentz been thrown around like a $3 hooker this last couple times in the waiver. He was picked up by Connor for $12. And yeah, I made the hooker reference just for you, Connor. Amon St. Brown also got picked up for $7 from Connor. Kendrick Bourne to Paul. I think that's actually going to be a pretty solid pickup for you. I haven't really watched a lot of their games, but they just don't have anyone to throw to. So $5 pickup in a dynasty league, heck yeah, that might get him some points. But this is the one that surprised me the most, and that was Boston Scott for $0. Miles Sanders going down, you know that's going to be a big pickup. Even if he only gets half the carries, that's still an RB, and those are really hard to come by, especially deep in a deep league like ours who have
Yeah.
some top heavy teams. Getting any kind of startable running backs are going to be key. So good job, Kenny. Matt, you picked up JJ Taylor. Any insight on that? Anything you were thinking on him?
Uh, yeah. This was the week of audio or roster churn. Sorry, I had some notification pop up on my screen and it just replaced the thought in my mind.
Oh,
Regardless.
we'll edit all this out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, this was the week of waiver wire churn for me because I'm picking up JJ Taylor. Sure, I'm chasing TDs, but he was an active start over Ramondre Stevenson. You know, he finally didn't fumble the ball, got in the end zone twice. He's just a deep stash. And same with Foster Moreau, kind of a handcuff for Darren Waller. And then like Tyler Johnson, that's Tampa's new wide receiver 3 with Antonio Brown hurt.
Oh, he really is deep diving here, guys. Okay, and you obviously got Philip Lindsay with the Mark Ingram trade,
and I have David Johnson. Like, why do I want to control the Houston backfield?
Some people like to watch the world burn, I guess. So.
Oh, and then lastly, if you really want to hear me get out in my deep waiver stashes, but Kalen Ballage, direct back up to Najee. So he's getting all the work. What's stopping from Kalen if he goes down? You know, I'm not wishing injury upon anybody, but we got to be proactive here.
That's just smart. I mean, that's just smart fantasy football playing. Okay, so to finish off, Kenny got CJ Uzama, which is another crazy good pick. I was actually looking at him, but I got busy and just forgot to hit the button on that. But yeah, he's been doing great. 2 touchdowns last week, and just he's kind of the outlet for Burrow now. Foster Moreau, you already talked about him. Ty Johnson for Paul, $0. And then I made a pickup, my first pickup of the year, actually. Marquez Valdez Scantling. And I honestly thought someone was going to bid on him. So I even threw out $7. Just like, all right, I'm getting this guy for my 7.
He's not even playing tonight, though.
He's not. I picked him up so no one else would. So,
and Connor paid $7 for Economia St. Brown, but he's not even starting him tonight. When are you ever going to start? When are you ever going to start him?
It's one of those that whenever his team was like it was last year and just half his team was injured, you have to have someone. I felt that pain last week, so I get it. It just sucks. But all right, now let's just keep moving along. Trade recap. Actually, no trades. We had a huge boom trade week last week, and this week we really didn't do it. Go ahead.
I think the trade from when I dumped the Ernest Johnson for David Johnson, we swapped the D Johnsons Thursday night before the game.
That's right. I think that was on the last one. That's why I didn't put it on here.
Oh,
so yeah, they did talk about that one. Connor and Paul did
on the game. That's
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We're all having fun.
Yeah,
but,
true.
but okay, and that's the end of that. We're not going to talk about water bets. I know I still owe one, but we've been talking about those every week. Everyone knows what the deal is, so we'll get those
I
taken.
kind of forgot.
Oh, you did? Okay,
No,
well,
I'm just.
okay. You got me. You got me, fucker. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into our last segment, and that is going to be
Let's do
our
it.
forecast and predictions. So as we like to do, we're going to start from the lowest seed to the highest seed. And that's so we're going to start with Cameron and Paul's game. So why don't you go ahead and lead us off on this one, Matt, and tell us what you're thinking.
For sure. I was looking a little earlier and I noticed that Cameron didn't have his starters in, which definitely reflects now because I expected him to win. He gets Najee back this week. Terry's eating it up. He's the only guy they can throw to. And, you hope Tyler Lockett can maybe catch 3 balls this game. I'm not counting on it. I'm sitting him where I got him and it's so disappointing. But, and, next thing you know, Brandon Cooks is traded. He might have another nice play, but, Paul, you just don't have the depth. Your flex is too weak. You got to win at the flexes, and that's just going to hurt you going forward.
So who are you predicting?
Oh, I got Cameron here big time.
Okay. All right. And I will say this, it does look like Cameron is missing his Raiders backfield. So there is that to be said about it, but it does look pretty insurmountable. I mean, Tom Brady, anytime I'm playing against him, it's always going to be a rough one. That's going to be the case. So he's always going to give you that baseline 30. I mean, and I probably jinxed it this week, so he'll only get 28. But yeah, he's always going to be high up there. Getting Jarvis Landry back is huge. Dalton Schultz coming back is a big deal. Scary Terry, I thought he might be sitting or it might be hurt this week, but I guess we'll see how that plays out. But he is playing against Paul, who did take down the champ last week, so we can't count anyone out. But I will say every time that I picked Paul, you haven't come through for me. And now you just have rubbed dirt into the wound. So, Cameron, you're my pick, baby. Go take him down. So
I will add that Terry McLaurin returned back to full practice. He is trending in the right direction for week 8, so we'd love to see that.
very cool. Okay, I missed that little blurb, so sorry about that, guys.
No problem. I just
Yeah.
pulled it up.
Hey, good man. All right, so let's get on to our next game, and that is going to be Kenny and Jack. And so let's go. I'll go ahead and start off on this one. And it does look like it is a very lopsided affair, just on paper. Kenny has a projected 150 points to Jack's 115. Hey, you got into triple digits, so that's always good. And you did start AJ Dillon again, so you are rolling those dice. Good luck to you. And right now, it does look like he is 0 points at it looks like middle of the first quarter. So, you know what? That's to be expected, honestly. It's Aaron Jones time, and it doesn't get to be AJ Dillon time for another, 7 to 8 minutes. So, but he still has Tyreek Hill. He does have Kyle Pitts, who is starting to show a little bit. And he does have Calvin Ridley. I mean, granted, it's Falcons offense this year hasn't been the best, but at the same time, if you're going to have 2 Falcons players, those would be the 2. So to kind of round this off for my prediction on this one, Kenny, you're just too strong. You're too strong, baby. You got that Josh Allen, you got Henderson, you got Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. Oh my God. And then you got Keenan Allen as your last flex. So I got you winning big. I'm gonna give you a 30-point spread.
Oh, geez, that's a big one. I think Vaughn covered most of it here. It's tough. Jack, you are 2 solid running backs away from having a very scary team. As soon as you switch out, you get some constant production there. You're rocking Tyreek Hill, Ridley, Pitts, Sutton's legit. What the hell? I sent you Deebo Samuel this offseason, and I'm sitting over here like, oh, Matt Harmon's got this guy charted really great in reception perception. Like Brandon Ayuk's just gonna rip it up, and don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I kind of want to get you started.
I'm stopping myself.
Good
So, not much to add, especially from Kenny's side. You covered it all, just up and down with talent. Give me Kenny in this one.
All right. You make bold predictions. 5-point
Uh,
victory, 7-point
I
victory.
think he covers. I think he covers 35-point spread. Did you say 30?
I said 30. I said 30. So okay.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna take
bolder
35.
than I, sir. All right, so we'll go on to our next game, and that is going to be Josh and David. And well, since we're alternating, Matt, go ahead and take this one away.
That sounds good. Well, it looks like we're off to a hot start. Sleeper has this one a bit close. When I was initially looking at it, wasn't so sure. But good for Chase Edmonds. He got in the end zone tonight for the first time this season. That is stuff you love to see, little dude. Can he get in the end zone? I guess this time. But looking at the rest of the rosters, it seems like a pretty even match up and down. I would say outside of Josh's flex. I think David might have the leg up, but it is close. I have a tough time predicting this one. But knowing what we know, I'm gonna take David here. I think he's coming back and he's gonna bounce back for a victory.
I like it. I like it. And just to counteract, I do not like seeing Chess Edmonds scoring any touchdowns, and I'm sure you are extra excited about that this evening. So congratulations on at least one less Kyler Murray touchdown for you. But let's go ahead and talk about of this a little bit. I think Justin Herbert is gonna go off this week against New England. Everyone always touts New England defense, and yeah, they even stifled my Cowboys a little bit. I think that they're just ready to get picked apart, and I think Justin Herbert is going to have a huge day with Allen. So I think they're just going to go off, and I do think Josh has a really solid lineup here. Cooper and Metcalf. I mean, those are two of the most solid guys. Even though Russell Wilson is gone, Metcalf still seems to be the guy they lean on. However, I will say this about these two players: I think I picked against both of them every single week. So for me to make a pick is just I'm gonna have to break the mold, and I think it's David's turn for me to say it's time for the victory. He's gonna
You better
be
hope, David. You better hope.
Who do you got in this one?
I'm taking David as well.
Oh man, we're just seeing eye to eye. So I mean, and if we don't see if we see eye to eye again on this one, I guess we're just gonna have to take ourselves in the finale. So we'll get there all too soon. But it is going to be Connor and Pietro as our next one. And I'll go ahead and kick this one off. And right now, we do have a couple players going in this, and that is going to be DeAndre Hopkins for Pietro and Robert Tunyon for Connor. And at the moment, Connor is projected 154, while Pietro is projected 129. So as it looks right now on paper, it does look like Connor does have the inside straight to get to the victory. Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara is going to help those odds quite a bit. You're welcome. Stephon Diggs is going to really help you there too. You're welcome. And those are all guys I did trade to him earlier this year. So, and I have not seen the return on that as of yet. But in short, I do think this is going to be closer than people think. Pietro always gives people hard games. I don't care who is playing them. And I do think it's going to be a matter of 7 points. But I do think Connor's going to pull out the victory.
That's a tight game. You just kind of look at the two teams and, Connor's just stacked with the names and faces. You really hope Robert Tonyan can finally show a pulse this year with no other receivers. That's why I'm taking, David in the last matchup, because you expect Aaron Jones to go nuclear, unless the Packers just can't even move the ball. But, the flex is really what makes or breaks it for me. Javonte Williams, Pittman, and Gainwell just up against Kelsey, Higgins, and Chubb. That's just kind of the difference maker in my mind. And what makes me go lean toward Connor as well in this one. And, poor Antonio Gibson. That man just loves ball way too much, and he isn't taking the time he needs to rest and get to full health. And I hope he does. But again, taking Connor in this one, Pietro, it's looking tough.
Well, in quick question, do you think Nick Chubb's going to play this week?
Yeah, I think it sounds like he's anticipated to be back. That's why I was fine just flipping Dearness Johnson now I got David Johnson, and Mark Ingram's gone. David Johnson was the only guy getting targets there. So you never know. I've already got to put Chris Carson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire on IR. You never know when I'm going to need a spot start. Maybe DJ can pick me up like 10, 12 points just off receptions alone.
I like it. Yep, I think you're onto something there. So at the end of the day, who do you got in this one?
Oh, I'm taking Connor in this one.
There you go. All right, so we're evened up, 4-4.
Yeah.
Going to the final battle, which is going to have huge playoff implications. And that is going to be me and your bout, which right now it sits that you are projected 143 to my 136. So without further ado, I'm going to let you go ahead and take away this one, and I'm going to try to rebut where I can.
This one's going to be tough. I think I'm a bit lucky that Antonio Brown is out this week, so I get a little more feature from Mike Evans. And I'm so lucky that DJ Moore's playing Atlanta because Sam Darnold blows, and at least he'll have a chance this week. You really hope that hip from Eckler doesn't turn into much. And I don't know how much longer Emmanuel Sanders can keep up his production. He's been playing really well, and I got him off the waiver wire. I think you dropped him or David dropped him.
Who was that one more time?
Emmanuel Sanders.
I think I did have him on my team
No,
at
so
one point.
I dumped a 2020. I got a 2022 first round out of you for Jared Cook and Emmanuel Sanders or something.
Oh, don't remind me of that gross trade. Oh man, that was rough. I can't believe I did that. I was super needy of tight end, and Jared Cook was just coming off. But no, okay. Granted, you had a lot of stuff going on there. I will say, if you have this going, then you got this advantage. If you got that going, you got this. You know what your biggest advantage is? Devontae Adams had to go and get COVID this week, and
that blows.
You are welcome, because that is real rough on my team right now. So because of that, I had to replace him with Adam Thielen in my main wide receiver spot, and that's, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. But not only that, I'm still working with some buys. I don't have my tight end. I also had to pull Jerry Jeudy up from injured reserve, and he's going straight into the lineup because that guy is a beast. And if they say he's ready and he says he's ready, I'm putting him in my lineup. But I'm really needing a big game from Kyler Murray right now. I can't have him be handing the stupid ball off to Connor anymore. We need to do our own running, do our own passing, and really make up for that. And the other one I need is Cook to go. Devontae, or did I say Dalvin Cook, thank you. To go off for me and have a 30-point game if I have real shot in it. And I do think he has that in him, especially a week on rest. And so I obviously, just like the Cowboys, we're winning it all. Picking me, let's go with the W.
You know what I just realized?
What's that?
While we match up, so do the Vikings and Cowboys. So we're doubling down here. We're doubling down.
This is the rivalry. I mean, when you're America's team, you ain't afraid of nobody. But no, it's gonna be a fun. It is funny. That one's actually on Halloween night. I'm gonna be trick or treating for the start of that game with my kiddos. So unfortunately, I'm gonna miss a little bit of it. But don't you worry, we're gonna catch the end of it whenever. It's probably a lot of garbage time. Cowboys are up 40-13 or something, and yeah, it'll be nice just to have a nice easy victory down there. So, but who do you got for this one? Do you got yourself?
You got Darrell Williams playing, you got Shepard. He's iffy. That's risky leaving him in there because who are you going to sub in? Not to give you too much advice.
Oh, no, I tell you, I'm going to sub in, and that is going to be either Odell Beckham or Tony Pollard. So I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. You got some options.
But it is a Monday game.
Out.
It is a Monday game, so it'll probably be Pollard because I'm going to wait for the afternoon games and then the evening game, and then we're going to do the primetime game at the end. And if it's still questionable, you better believe Pollard's going in there, and I'm just going to take my chances because Minnesota does have a great defense, but Pollard's balling right now. He is the Cowboys' #1 running back, at least in burst. And I think that's really what you need. Yeah, you got the bulldozer and Elliott, and I love me some Elliott. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but Pollard is the future. So, not
to hover on this one too long. I'm taking myself. But not to boost your ego or anything, my friends in my leagues, they call me a closeted Cowboys fan because I got Dak everywhere. I'm huge. That guy, phenomenal, just so sharp, so good. I love watching him play.
I don't call you a Cowboys fan. You just know talent, and Dak is phenomenal. He is probably the best quarterback in the league this year. And I'm not talking about physically; it's mentally. It's him and Brady, and I don't think it's even close to anyone else. So at least this year. So we'll see how that goes. All right, we're gonna. I know it's getting late, guys.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. But one last thing I want to do, and this is just our last little feature because we are league. We've been playing for years now, guys. But really, do we know that much about each other? I would love to know you guys a little bit more. Obviously, it's been a huge camaraderie thing. I consider all you guys my friend now, but I do want to get to know you guys a little bit more. So what I want to do this evening is to go ahead and tell one thing you might not know about yourself. And Matt, let's just go ahead and see what you got.
Well, last time I told people this, they were a bit surprised. This isn't the one I told you earlier either. But one time I was on a pogo stick, bouncing on one foot, and in
I like where this is going.
my foot slid off, and you know how it's like the shaft and the stick. It like launched off just as I was going down, slid, and like put a hole in my knee, like a half-inch deep, and like I was like in shock. It didn't really hurt, and like it was moving so fast that it wasn't super painful. I'm shit you not. My dog came into the hallway to look at, like, he just came to look, and he freaking went into the hallway and threw up. It was like a half-inch, like it was pretty crazy. Like I could see bone, but it healed super quickly. Like overnight, like the hole kind of filled up. And here I am.
Wow. Well, I do have a story that I could tell you about seeing bone from my body, but I'm going to leave you with a less morbid one here. And that is okay. So back when I was in college, it was my freshman year. I just went off to college. I went to the University of Oklahoma, and I lived in Dallas. So it's a 3-hour drive back and forth. I worked during my summer in Dallas, and while I was there, here now, I was listening. I was doing work for Miller, filling shelves for beer, and I went and was listening to the radio, and they had this thing called cougar dating. And so it is exactly what it sounds like. So I'm an 18-year-old strapping lad. I mean, I call him in, and I'm not afraid to get into anything. I love any kind of adventure. I'm an extrovert, love doing it all. I called him in. Lo and behold, I got on the show. And they flew me in from Norman to Dallas. And I was not only flown into the show, I was Cub number one. Yes, Cub number one, because we were playing Cougar dating. So that's how you did it. It was a show called Lexington on in the morning. So so I was there. I went in, and it got a little raunchy. I'm not gonna lie, proudest moment, but it was a fuck ton of fun. I think the one of the questions, if I remember right, was all right, if you were a dessert, what would you be and why? I was like,
What'd you
baby.
pick?
I said, baby, I'd be a banana split. Cause I can be cold, but I'm always satisfied. So
This 18-year-old Bond delivering that. Like, did you have a beard then? I could see his. Did you grow? You had a beard.
I grew up with a goatee for a long ass time, and then I grew out the rest of the beard. But no, I think I was shaving because of my job, so I really look like a baby. Kind of, but I actually didn't end up getting selected, thank God. But the stories will always go with me, and my fraternity called me banana split for probably 3 semesters, so you're welcome. All right, guys, that's going to be it. I hope everyone's enjoyed this. You guys are keeping enjoying it. Please, if you want to come and do this with us. This is a lot of fun. But not
like and subscribe. We're starting a thing here. So, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Hope you guys enjoy.
And with that, we are going to get out of here. Have fun. Good luck this week, guys.
Peace.